Michael Malice here. Let that be your welcome. We've got today one of my most requested guests by popular demand. And I don't usually like giving the fans what they want because then they get ideas and notions.
Right.
But in this case, I had to make an exception. We have Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter.
What's up?
All the way from Philly. Thank you
way.
so much for coming in. I am a big fan of yours and what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So the first question, the obvious question, why is this issue so important to you? And why is it got to be black?
It got to be black because most semi-automatic firearms are black. So that's one. And America just has we have a rich tradition in regards to firearms, but we also have a rich tradition in regards to making sure that people of color do not have firearms. Racial profiling in regards to the Second Amendment existed before America was even created. You got the French, black laws, black codes and things like that. That was like, if you happen to see a black dude, black person, if they got anything that looks like a weapon, if they don't comply, you're allowed to beat them and potentially kill them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that was like in Louisiana. So this is something that, people of color need to be aware of because it's a human right. As stated in the Second Amendment by the founding fathers of this nation, the framers of this construct. So just getting people from urban America involved and getting them understanding that, like, I don't really care what somebody else initially thought or the spooky game that they're trying to convince you that you're not supposed to be a part of that. Nah, if you pay taxes, you work here, you do what you do. You have the human right that's not granted by government to defend your life.
But is this something you've always felt, or was there some kind of moment where you had this big epiphany?
Well, I've always had guns, even unlawfully. I've always
Okay.
They always been around, but and getting more information and studying more people, studying more historians and emulating some of those freedom fighters. When you talk about a Harriet Tubman, when you talk about a Malcolm X, when you talk about a Patrick Henry, when you talk about a Thomas Paine, these were men and women that was like, yeah, we bought this gun. Can I cuss?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, we bought this gun shit. You know what I mean? And so the reason for that being like the Second Amendment, even after the Constitution, it was like, hey guys, let's double down with the Bill of Rights. First one, you can say what you mean. Second, you can defend what you just said.
Yeah.
So I've always thought this way, but I lacked the political education in my younger years to kind of like give it a scope in a shapeable, translatable, scalable way of saying that to people and giving them an understanding of that framework.
Let's talk a little bit about why you're saying there's a history of gun laws being used to keep people of color helpless, effectively.
Yep.
What were some of the big moments in that history?
So we could go all the way back to, Virginia. That's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
We can go back to Virginia where the first freedom laws were created. Right after emancipation, you had black people that fought in assistance with, cool white people that were abolitionists that fought for their liberation. Black people have fought in every major war in America, period. Even when we were like, hey, you guys are slaves, people escaped to fight against, enslavement. But right after, emancipation, which doesn't mean free, it just means transfer of ownership, whole nother topic. But right after that, they were like, hey, it's a lot of black people. We were kind of like beating them up for a minute. We don't know if we want those guys to have the guns. So they used that construct, that racial construct, to come up with rules. Even though you're saying that these people are now equal citizens, you came up with ways to stop people. At a certain point, all of America was constitutional carry, except for black people, except for, the natives to this land, the Aboriginal people, indigenous people to this, what they call Turtle Island or whatever. So, that's the history. And I'm not saying we got to stay there, but I'm not going to stay there. That ain't going to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, we got to get past the point of where we pretending like this ain't where this came from. And if you fast forward, the Gun Control Act, right? Oh, we got to stop these Italian mobsters in Chicago. These guys are bad for the fabric of America.
Oh, yeah.
We need gun control. Right? That happened right after the St. Valentine's Day massacre. The crazy Italians, you know what I mean? Those troublesome natives. We don't know about those crazy alcoholic Irish.
Yeah.
They've used every single racial background to push more and more anti-freedom, non-justice, anti-human policy, agendas.
Who do you get the most pushback from in your work?
I get the most pushback from the gun community.
Okay. But is it more white people or is it more black people? Or is it, how do white people push back at you and how do black people push back at you?
White people that have a background in law enforcement tend to give me a pushback.
Oof.
Not because we're anti-gun. They like, yeah, you arming the hood, you getting them to do it right, safely, responsibly. They have difficulty with understanding the concept that if we're calling this a human right, and if someone goes to jail for robbing a bank, let's say extreme thing, murder, you got 30 years in jail, they do 30 years in jail. If this is a human right, they've paid their debt to society. Why are we not saying that this human doesn't get, if they've changed, right? They've done what you said they have to do they've paid their penance. Law enforcement gets nervous that I say that person should have the right to defend their life and there should be no restrictions on that person. If he's still the bad guy, the Hannibal Lecter rip your face off dude, he shouldn't be on the street. There's
that line. I'm an anarchist, so I'm very much, let's reduce the prison population as much as possible, if not to nothing.
Yeah.
And the line is, don't let someone out of jail. Don't put someone in jail if you ever want to let them out.
Right. And the thing is, if you're out, because it becomes, okay, it's a thing of, it's three things. Did you rob somebody, take their stuff? Did you violate somebody's physical body? Or did you violate their property? The property issues we could holler at in court. We could come up with we move forward. Violating somebody's body, and things of that, or taking their stuff, we still go to court. But if you violate it to a point where there's an actual crime, okay, you pay your penance. Law enforcement is afraid of accepting the fact that, everybody that went to jail isn't the bad guy. I know dudes that's doing football numbers for weed.
Right.
And so it's like, that's where law enforcement and I have hella support from high-level trainers that have background in law enforcement. Some of them have a more freedom and open-minded thought process. Some of them are like, I don't know, Maj. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's semi-pushback. The other people that we get some of that from is the people that are very aware of what I'm saying is true. They have an agenda, and unfortunately, my Democrat friends will get mad at this. Unfortunately, they happen to fall on the left. They're in political positions of power in urban areas, where they're pushing an agenda, and they're very well aware that this is a racist practice. They're very well aware of it, but they get their cake off of continuing that line. It's reality. Shira Goodman runs Ceasefire PA. There's some paperwork that came out. They got 300 and some odd, and I'm paraphrasing on the numbers. I tweeted it. 300 and some odd, whatever, 500 and some odd $1,000 went to them. 300 and some odd thousand of that went to salaries. Right? This is supposed to be the people that are saying we want to cut down on negligence and death in regards to firearms. 100 and some of that money went to Shira Goodman, who runs that.
Oh, yeah. It's
so
a racket.
It's bread in it. And it's like, if y'all gun people keep pushing me too hard, I'm going to switch to the anti-gun side because I'm definitely not getting paid enough. The other side get paid way much more money.
I was on...
I'm lying, by the way, because I don't want people to be like, he's going to switch on us.
I was on a panel on Fox not that long ago, and we were talking about this issue, and I said that the NRA are the moderates. Mm-hmm. They are the centrists, and often they, fold on gun issues, and everyone on the panel laughed at me. And I went on Twitter. I go, "Do you guys the real gun people?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. They're complete sellouts." What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that they're sellouts. So there's three different branches in the NRA. I think the part that people don't, if they don't know that, I think the NRA ILA, the Institute for Legislative Action, they're in D.C. They're the lobbying arm.
Yeah.
Nothing moves in D.C. if you don't got some sort of bipartisan support. Sure. Unless you happen to control the House and the Senate, then maybe you could get something done. We didn't, the last couple of whatevers. But nonetheless.
The wall's still coming.
Right. The wall's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. These things take time.
Right. You got to get the mortar and bricks up.
You got to put some seeds down, water them.
Then it grows. I think that because people don't understand certain levels of politics, my morals in that political game come from off the street. I might not like you at all, but you got a better price for the work. I'm coming to see you to get the price for the work. And you got to cross that aisle in order to do that. My homies that's in jail that deal with blacks and Mexicans, they got the plug. We got to go deal with them. That's just what it is. And I think that people don't have a street perspective of that, and they have not done any actual politics. So I think they missed that part. My gripe with the NRA is you guys champion for things that you don't have to. And your PR in regards to, I have Chris Cox's phone number in my phone right now.
Is he in the NFL also?
No.
Who's Chris Cox?
Right. Chris Cox is second in charge at the NRA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After Wayne. Is Wayne still in charge?
Yeah, Wayne's in charge. I got pictures with Wayne LaPierre. Wayne LaPierre, out of his own mouth, told me he want to work with Black Guns Matter. It hasn't happened. I think they have a PR nightmare over there. I think that they need to do a better job of getting people from my demographic involved if they want to do it. If not, they're going to continue to get beat up. They hemorrhaging money, $55 million, 2017 alone.
But here's where I'm coming from. I had Cody Wilson on my show. Are you familiar with Cody?
Yeah, I got his phone number in my phone too.
Cody's great.
What up, Cody?
And well, he can't. I mean,
not right now. Later, he'll see it. He'll hear this later. My bad. Hold your head.
And the point Cody had made is they were the enemy because they didn't want him to fight these lawsuits because they thought that the NRA I'm talking about, they thought the judges would rule against him and this would be a bad precedent to set. And he ended up winning.
Yeah.
And his whole point was, he's an anarchist like me.
Yeah.
He's, F the NRA. He's for gun owners of America.
Correct.
He thinks that they're too big.
Eric Pratt, Gun Owners of America, they follow me on social media. Eric Pratt, we should do some work. I've heard rumors about you. I don't know if you think David Duke is like a saint. I've heard that.
Does he?
I don't know if that's true. I'm trying to put it out there to get some clarity on that rumor.
Let me tell you David Duke's story.
Yeah. So, shit, you have a David Duke story?
Oh, yeah, I do. So
Wait, do you think he's a saint?
I'm Jewish.
Oh, okay.
So
Never
yes.
mind.
So I'm doing a book on the new right. It comes out in May.
Okay.
And what I'm very big on, and I saw you had I think it was a Instagram or something, or no, a YouTube video, and you were holding up the different books people need to read.
Yeah.
So I said it's very easy for people who have non-orthodox views to be caricatured.
Yeah.
So I bought his book, Jewish Supremacism, signed copy.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's see what he says about us. And on a certain page, he said that we changed shape to look more like white people. So I'm like, well,
yeah.
I don't.
Listen, so Malcolm X talked about that.
Okay,
Malcolm X spoke about, and it's true. It's like it's not a skin tone; it's a belief system.
No. He said we literally physically change shape by breeding a certain way.
Oh wait, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
No, not the. No.
So wait, he's calling y'all shapeshifting?
Exactly.
What is this fucking Star Trek?
I know.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Wait, now David Duke said this?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, Dave. Eric, if you're believing that type of bullshit, we can't do work. But it's a rumor that I heard. I don't know how true it is.
I'll get you the book.
Right.
Jewish Supremacism. You can hold it up in the video.
Right, in the video. You guys need to read this. I actually just finished posting something about gun control in the Third Reich.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how they literally disarmed the Weimar, however they pronounce
Republic,
that.
yeah.
They did that before, and then Hitler came and was like, yep, here's the nail in the coffin.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And my Jewish homies, like, listen, shouts to the Pew Pew Jew. He's got a Yehuda. He's got a great children's book.
And there's also Jews for the Preservation of Firearms.
I'm actually I want to be a member of that because I'm black. I'm the original Jew. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're like like those.
I believe stuff there. I believe black people created everything first.
Wait, you're one of those guys in the subway who's going to yell at me that I'm the devil.
I'm not white devil. I'm not going to yell at you.
You're just going to tell me calmly that I'm the devil.
Every so often I go, hey, that guy's kind of.
He makes you think.
The whole thing is like maybe these guys are shapeshifting. No, I'm fucking. No, but I think that the NRA is they the biggest and strongest.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
I have high level relationships with good people over there. I don't want to damage those relationships, but just like certain things that I've done, I've had to be accountable for.
Sure.
I want them to hold themselves accountable for the mistakes that they've made in the past, even though ownership or management has changed. As well as I want them to hold themselves accountable for the good things that they've done for urban America. I'm not just going to attack them because they didn't give me $30,000 like they said they were going to do for our work. I'm not going to attack them for that. I'm going to attack them for y'all are content. For example, if you want more urban America, black, white, Spanish, Latin, whatever, to come to the NRA annual meetings, maybe you should have some hip hop or some pop stars be there and perform. Maybe it shouldn't all be country. I listen to country music, but we don't all. You know what I'm saying? So there's little PR things that I think that they can do. Guys, if you are listening, NRA, Ackerman McQueen, all of you guys over there, if you're listening, that's a free one for our consultant services. The first one's free. We just gave you that. You should holler at us, info@officialblackgunsmatter.com, so we can get you right over there.
We've got a new sponsor here this week that is very dear to my heart. It's the Free State Project. The website you're going to go to is fsp.org, freestateproject.org, fsp.org/join. What the Free State Project was a historic mass migration of more than 20,000 people who pledged to move to New Hampshire for liberty. The idea was, and I'm talking about this in my forthcoming book, you get a bunch of people to a small state and you change the culture for the better. If you go to fsp.org/join, you find out more about this great plan of putting your money where your mouth is when it comes to liberty, instead of just messing around arguing on Facebook. It's not a political organization. They're a tax-deductible nonprofit charity. There's no membership dues. They're participants. And they're legally prevented from endorsing or opposing political parties, candidates, or legislations. It's all about liberty, and it's a project that is worth your attention. If you go to fsp.org/join, you can find out more about, and it's already started. That's the thing. I have a lot of friends who moved to New Hampshire, and they're glad that they did. It's a small population. It's the live free or die culture, and it's one of the freest states in the nation. It's a launch pad for liberty. Check it out at fsp.org/join. Here's how the left works. Isn't what they do is, for example, in all those the movies like E.T., right?
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg took out the guns.
Yeah.
There is, I'm sure you've seen this as well, there is a huge pressure in culture to never present guns in a positive or even neutral light. A gun always has to be an entertainment presented as something that at any moment can start shooting people and killing people. And anyone holding a gun is basically like possessed and is 1 second away from blowing away their dad or their friend.
I agree with that.
And that's an issue I would think for music, because as soon as I'm performing at the NRA, you want to shoot people.
Well, here's the thing. That's wrong. And that's a perception that we can change perceptions with facts.
But that is something that's intentionally being put forward
absolutely.
As a mythos.
And to me, that's why I think we need more hip hop and pop culture. So I have a rifle, the Solutionary rifle by Head Down Arms, right? They worked with us. We came up with a rifle to support the work. And, it's a rifle. It's not a handgun. It's a rifle. We have to go there. That's wrong. That's not true. Here are the facts. And you already know that guns are cool. Right. There's a safe and responsible way of dealing with them. It's a cool thing. There's shooting sports. There's shooting clays. There's teenagers that are going to the Olympics. They're getting scholarships through college. The most decorated Olympian of all time is a shooter, and it's a woman. So homework assignment. I'm not going to tell you her name. Go find that out. With that being the case, we have to push that narrative. It's Caitlyn Jenner.
Sorry, spoiler.
Spoiler alert. We have to use pop culture and all those different things to push that narrative, because guns are in pop culture. They are a part of American history. We just have to redefine that narrative and stop going with the lie.
But what kind of pushback do you get from the black community?
None.
Is that right?
None.
It's not like, you're going to cause more murder in our community.
We from the same cloth. They know it would be different if I had like a bunch of degrees and was trying to come in there on some like a missionary move. Yeah. They see what every city at this point we've done. I don't even know how many cities in America we've done classes in. I can't remember. I damn near can't even remember what city borough we in right now. I don't know. With that being the case, everywhere that we go, I'm in every hood across America, getting love, getting support, because the people in that demographic, regardless of racial background, the people from that demographic go, you're saying something that makes sense, and you're presenting information for free that we may need. I wanted to know something about this, but I didn't want to ask the cop. I might have had nervousness. I didn't know what gun. I've been told that gun ranges is all KKK meetings in the back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I relate to you. So here you come doing these classes for free. Hey, come in, and everybody that's listening, if you are agreeing with some of the things that we're saying here, please support our work. Our classes are free. GoFundMe.com yes, shameless plug.
It's not shameless. This is why you're here.
Absolutely. GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter. To get entry-level people that have this curiosity, to teach people that are like, yo, I don't even want a gun, but I want to know what to tell my children if they come across, and they're at a park and they come across a firearm. I would like for my children to know what not to do. So we don't get pushback in the black community. The black community across America champions the work that we doing at Black Guns Matter.
One of the things that I've gotten is one of the big arguments against guns is that you're going to have people getting shot accidentally all the time. So then I say, okay, if that's the case, and like another issue is car accidents, right?
Yeah.
People get hit by a car. That's a terrible tragedy. I said, just like you have driver's ed, let's have classes where people can learn worst case scenario how to handle gun safety. And when you say that to people, they lose their minds, because from their perspective, touching a gun is like touching the devil.
And that part is the reason why our work is so critical. We are the entry level to firearms ownership at Black Guns Matter, especially, not limited to, but especially for urban America. You're going to come in there and you're going to learn how to get a license to carry, what's the process in your city or your state. You're going to learn conflict resolution, de-escalation. For this year, we've added political education. You're going to learn proper firearm safety handling, weapons handling and manipulation. And if we're doing it at a range in your particular city, it's like Fight Club. If you've never shot before, you have to shoot.
But you're not supposed to talk about it.
We kind of have to. We tell everybody not to, and we don't talk about us. First rule at Black Guns Matter: don't talk about Black Guns Matter. It's absolutely going to get talked about. Come into a class where you understand the historical perspective, the safe components, the mental health aspect. That's why we started working with Walk the Talk America. That's why we partnered with Bursa, who takes $1 retroactively and donates $1 for every firearm that they sell and gives it to Walk the Talk America that deals with mental health. We have to police our own community in these issues. So when you say, yeah, you didn't know how to drive and you were scared when you first drove your car. You was driving like this, nervous. Yeah. Why aren't you scared now? Oh, because I practiced, because I learned. Same thing. When you rode a bike, you was shaking like, Bambi out the woods, but at the same time, you got some training, you got some understanding. You listened to people that rode bikes better than you. You got better at it. You don't, okay, I'm not built to ride a bike down, steps yet. I have not had that level of training. Let me not try that yet. You had a respect for the tool. It's exactly the same thing. And when you tie that back into the fact that America would not exist if not for firearms, because that could have went left. 1775, British was like, hey, send them rifles back.
Yeah.
1776, they like, yeah, no, we want to do our own thing over here. You know what I mean? And then the British was like, no, America shot the British, shot them. They didn't make a meme. They didn't continue being diplomatic. Okay, war is diplomacy by different means. So now it's, okay, we might have to shoot you to defend our freedoms. And, America, all of these like cool Starbucks and all of the stuff that we have, and Starbucks isn't cool. Dunkin' Donuts is way better. They should cut me a check for this. However, these things that we like, that we can even argue about, Starbucks is better than Dunkin' Donuts. They're in a place that happened by war, by conquest, by firearms. To pretend that like that's not a part of American history then and a part of American present now is the biggest contradiction. And my job is to expose the contradiction to the maximum.
Yeah, one of the things people like to talk about is privilege. It's like it takes a lot of privilege where you can be safe in your home and safe in your community. Someone had to make that place safe for you. And they didn't do it by passing out flyers necessarily. No. They did it by enforcing a system with weapons.
Right. That's it. The first federal gun grab, Wounded Knee, massacre, native to this land people. Just turn in your guns. They murdered, though. And I say they, it's a part of America. I live in America.
Yeah.
This is a part of American history. You're talking about, we can fast forward to Hurricane Katrina. They were literally, this government literally was going door to door confiscating firearms. This American government tried it in the U.S. Virgin Islands. They tried it in Hawaii. Within a year ago, hey, if you got a medical marijuana card, you have to turn your guns in. This is not like
medical marijuana.
Yep.
Weed.
Yes. You don't hold up with all of these goddamn freedoms. You choose.
Yeah, what? You want your weed or you want? Yeah, you could have freedom of speech, or you could have your gun and shut up. What? That is amazing.
What do you want?
Wow.
And these are the things that we're talking about. So when I say you should be able to smoke whatever you want, I can drink and have a gun. Now, of course, we're not going to get hammered and go shooting. That's stupid. Just like you wouldn't smoke and go get completely blasted and go drive, right? With that being the case, stop making Americans seem like they aren't intelligent enough to make certain decisions. And the politicians that are writing these things in the law are the people that are exempt from the same rules. If that's not a contradiction, I don't really know what is. So why my demographic relates to that, why we don't get nothing but love and support from the Black community, is because those are things that we are affected by. We are affected by mass incarceration. We are affected by, I want to smoke. I work 60 hours a week. I just want to chill and be in the house and watch the game. Let me smoke and still have the guns to defend my house because I'm in the middle of Southside Chicago.
Right.
Who are you to tell me as an American that I can't choose to chill and relax in my house? Smoking weed cuts down on crime. He is a threat to nobody but a bag of Doritos.
Are Doritos cooler than Tostitos?
Come cooler. They come in different flavors.
That was my argument. I had this argument over the weekend. Yes, thank you. Okay.
Tostitos, they break when you put too much dip on them.
Thank you. Let me tell you guys about Blinkist. So I write books. I read books. You know this. Some of you guys have jobs. Some of you guys, unlike me, have lives. So you don't have time to read all the books that everyone's talking about on Facebook and social media. What Blinkist does, and let me give you the code, Blinkist.com/malice to get a 7-day free trial. BLINKIST. What Blinkist.com does, it's an app which takes the best key takeaways, information from thousands of nonfiction books, and gets them down to 15 minutes. So it's like you've read it without having to read it. You get the point. Most of these books you can get down to probably 5 minutes, but they'll give you the 15. You can use it for books that are historically important, like Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You got Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Workweek, Getting Things Done by David Allen. They even have the political stuff, the Michael Wolff Trump book. I read that whole book. Trust me, I didn't need to read the whole book. A 15-minute summary would have been fine. If you go to Blinkist.com, Blinkist.com/malice, you get a free 7-day trial. We got a question from the chat room. What do you think of Colin Waugh and his work in Canada?
I don't know if he's doing any work in Canada.
I thought it was Canada, or his campaign.
No, Noir, I don't think Noir fuck with me no more.
Okay.
And I'm going to be very frank. I think that the
Explain who he is. I'm not familiar with him.
Noir is the one, so people that's listening, there's a black dude that the NRA has.
Okay.
That, he was one of our biggest earlier supporters. I think that the NRA and the people that have him under employ, I think they steal a lot of my swag now at this point. I don't want to say it's specifically him, but I've seen things and I'm like, yeah, that ain't you. Y'all wasn't doing that before we showed up. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I cite my sources.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he fuck with me because I'm being more communicative about that, but that's just the conversation. What I'm not going to do is, that's the one black dude, and I'm just going to argue with the like the Willie Lynch argue with the one black dude. I'm lighter than him, he's darker than me, and it's like the light skin dark skin thing going
paper bag
on.
Test.
Right. So it's like, nah, but I think that he's done amazing things as far as allowing himself to be placed in a position of visibility.
Okay.
I think that he has to toe a line. That's the reason why the NRA, I think they, are like, we don't know about Maj. What line I'm towing is freedom. That's the line that I'm towing. You know what I'm saying? And so I have no ill will towards him. Again, he was one of our biggest supporters in the beginning. And I question some of the reasons of why that was done now. I've contacted him. He has my phone. Another guy, his phone number's in my phone. His phone is gold. I got Don Trump Jr.'s number in here. It's happening, baby. It's happening.
Let's talk about what guns in the ghetto would mean, right?
Freedom.
Charles Barkley
Yeah.
had that quote about, if it wasn't for the cops, the ghetto would look like the Wild Wild West. So
Charles Barkley's a fucking idiot for that.
I'm just saying, but a lot of people have this idea.
When did he say this?
Not that long ago.
Charles, you're a fucking
The
idiot.
basketball player from Arizona, right? Am I thinking of the right person?
He played for the Sixers. Listen, Charles Barkley was aggressive. I love Charles, but I think he's funny when he does the telecast and all of that. But that line right there, Charles, you wrong.
Can you get the quote, Nate? The exact quote? But a lot of you got it?
The Charles Barkley quote is, "We need cops. If it wasn't for the cops, we'd be living in the wild, wild west." And this is from May 3rd, 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles, you sound stupid.
So a lot of people think more guns in the ghetto, everyone's going to be shooting each other.
So if that's the case, right, if that was true, then that means the laws against guns worked. And that means the places where the highest levels of violent crime would have the least amount of gun laws. That is provable. I.e. Philly, Detroit, Chicago, Compton. Where there's more gun control, there's less lawful firearms, there's more violent crime.
Yeah.
John Lott has wrote books about it. You know what I'm saying? More guns, less crime. The great he has a newer one after that. I think it's called I forget what it's called, but anyway, y'all will hop on DuckDuckGo. Notice I said DuckDuckGo, not Google. Hop on DuckDuckGo and throw that in your search. You should switch that to your search engine. DuckDuckGo. You guys should get behind our work. Sidebar. With that being the case, no, what Charles is saying is factually inaccurate. It's factually inaccurate. It is we have the data. You know what I mean? There's 14, now 15. Shouts to South Dakota just becoming a constitutional carry state. There's 15 constitutional carry states in America. Those 15 constitutional carry states, if you can purchase a firearm lawfully, you can conceal it or open carry it, whichever way. There's no extra process, right? Those historically have lower violent crime than the places that have a gang of all of the gun control laws. That data disproves what Sir Charles is saying. Loved him as a basketball player. Charles doesn't have a ring, so I can't really put too much cred.
Do you have his number in your phone?
I almost did when I was in Phoenix last time. No joke. I was at Dan Marley's restaurant, and I ran into Dan Marley and was like, "Hey, you want to give me Charles' number?" You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Charles is off base with that.
Why do you think so many? Oh, here's another one. There was, I think it was 2012.
Yeah.
I think it was Philly. There was someone that they called a Black Panther had a gun, was standing outside a voting booth, and the Republicans freaked out. They said this is intimidating to voters to have someone with a firearm outside a polling place. Meanwhile, they're all for concealed carry and open carry in every other situation. There seems to be a hypocrisy there.
It's definitely a hypocrisy. And when people say that, I like to make their brain think outside of what they're saying. So they say it's intimidating to have a person with a firearm at a polling station. There's police there with firearms. So why is this a special set of human and this one is not? Does the police officer is the prerequisite to get the job? You got an extra brain and you think better? If that's not the case, then there's a human in a uniform with a gun. So why are you? What makes you say that? And the other thing I say a lot of times is, you know, when a lot of beginners that have come to the class that are hesitant, I'll ask them, you know, why are you hesitant? Because I'm nervous around guns. And I'll say, how many guns do you think you're around right now in my class? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, let's say if it's 500 people, 200 people in here, 60% of them came to see me that aren't beginners. They're probably armed. You're in the safest space in your life, you know? So when people say that, it's good to make them like respectfully say, hey, you're looking at that. You've been fed a poison and unfortunately you nibbled it and it's corroding your mind. You know, my job is to give you more information, which is the antidote, you know, and to make you think outside of that bubble. And those guys, those Republicans that say that, you know, it's like they pick and choose. There's a meme that says, when Republicans see that Democrats want gun control, it's the picture of like Mel Gibson in Braveheart.
Yeah.
It's like, ah! And then when Donald Trump or Republicans want gun control, they're redcoats.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's an extreme contradiction there. I own the hashtag expose the contradiction to the maximum degree.
That's a lot of letters.
That hashtag will not be used without the express written consent of Maj Toure Incorporated.
All rights reserved.
Right.
So I'm glad to hear that you don't get pushback from the urban community. Let me get your thoughts, because I was on a Real Ass podcast yesterday, and the point I made with Governor Northam of Virginia, I said, and this is something leftists say, and I think in many cases it's true, when you have a situation like blackface, it's important for white people to shut up.
Chill out.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what that means for a black person.
Right.
And different black people obviously going to have different perspectives.
Right.
So what was your take on that whole situation?
My take is...
And on Megyn Kelly, too.
Yeah. My take is, one, I'm not moved by... Listen, historically, white people in America have been damn near an unstoppable force. Y'all motherfuckers is like damn near like Thanos with the violence and the ignorance. Like, that has happened. I got white homies. I got all races of homies. If we're talking about historically... I'm not surprised by things that white people do. My focus ain't white people.
Right.
So it's like when an older governor, Democrat from Virginia, because they'll put the spin on it like he was a Republican. He wasn't. He isn't. Right. When he does something like that, I'm like, okay, well, that's like me thinking that's a white dude in the deep South. It's now, mind you, it is profiling. Be very clear. But if it's a white dude that's 80 years old from the South, the deep South, Florida, you know what I'm saying, Mississippi, Alabama, yeah, he might have participated in some of the foolishness and shenanigans. I understand it. It doesn't have any power over me anymore. I don't think that person pretending like, oh no, I didn't know that was me in the yearbook. Like, come on, dude, like, stop. Like, stop. That's like Liam Neeson now saying, oh, I didn't know that was me saying that I wanted to kill a black man. I didn't. Like, come on, dude, that's you. You know what I'm saying? Own it. It's like me saying, yo, I used to sell heroin. I used to sell coke. I used to sell pills. I didn't get caught. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm past the statute of limitations. But whatever I did, right, I'm going to own it and move forward. The biggest surprise to me is like people that are surprised. But it's Virginia. That's where the first anti-gun, black people shouldn't have gun rules came from. So I don't believe this whole, I don't think that enough people have died over a certain age to usher in the new era of, I'm going to look at you for who you are as a person. I think that there's a lot of dead, outdated, racist, backwater thinking that still exists. I'm just not surprised by it anymore. I just go, oh yeah. I could see that, and then we move forward. I mean, Sarah Silverman has blackface on the internet.
I actually tweeted that out yesterday. I said, according to Virginia's crazy laws, if Northam steps down, Sarah Silverman becomes the new governor.
Right in the spot. They got the same and it's like, okay, we give her an extra pass because she's a comedian, and I know friends that are comedians. John Hickok, 45, is a comedian. I saw his stand up last week in Vegas. Right, he has a racy joke. I get his personality, and I get his layered, watching The Office, dry sense of humor. Other homies might not, and that's the risk he takes in doing comedy. So I get, but there's a difference somewhat between a comedian. There's a big difference between a comedian and a politician, and this is someone that, when leftists go, these guys are racist, y'all got to look at your own circle too. It's not your party, it's your policy, it's your thought process. So I ain't surprised by that. He's over 50, maybe.
Your shirt says all gun control is racist.
Absolutely.
Do you think charges of racism are being used too flippantly in America?
Yes. That's why when I say gun control is racist, I got to back that up with data, facts, historically and present. There's a great book by Michelle Alexander called The New Jim Crow, which deals with how racism in the form of enslavement adapts. Racism is very smart. You know what I'm saying? It changes. So now it's not politically correct to say, fuck that nigger with the ER on it, right?
That was actually the first name of my show.
Right. It was like, I think we can get away with this.
Yeah. we workshopped it.
And then everybody was like, I don't know.
No, we had 3/5 like it, 2/5.
3/5. 3/5. Oh, it went over some of their heads. 3/5. With that being the case, right? Like, so for example, like that, right? I understand that it's a joke. You're not going like afterwards, and maybe you are. I don't give a shit. But after the show, you're not going, man, that nigger with the all gun control racist shirt on was. I know that as a humorist, as a joke, I can separate myself from certain things. The intent, the energy, that's spiritual. The intent, the emotion, and all of those different things behind it play a part. Now, when you're in a political realm, that also plays a part. So we have to be very careful of what we identify with labeling. Just because somebody disagrees with you does not make them a Nazi.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The new neo-Nazis aren't even Nazis to me. It's like, yo, y'all just be calling people names. Y'all like a name callers. Cool, great, move on. You know what I'm saying? It's like 8,000 of y'all on the planet. Right. You're not even big enough for me to even like really address. What is something that's big enough to address is the policies that adapt. The racist policies that change to the point where people can go, well, maybe when it was started, it was that, but now it's not. No, those same agendas, agendas and consequences are exactly what it is. So when you have the original czar of the drug, that came to be the drug enforcement, the DEA, right? Say the origin of marijuana prohibition being, I think that marijuana makes white women want to sleep with Negro jazz musicians.
Yeah.
There you go. That is the origin
of
cocaine. And cocaine. And to me, it's like, yo, if you want to shoot heroin, great, do it. It's your body. Do it. I don't care. In 6 months of watching Mike over there, in 6 months, you're going to turn into a zombie. If you want to do that, that's your body. Cool. Don't try to shoot heroin in me for me. I don't want heroin. So we created all of these different laws and things to enforce an ideology that a lot of times has been steeped in racism. So, yes, I do think that too many people are calling racism. I have black people calling me white supremacists. Like me and my crew are white. Y'all are white. Y'all are down with the suspected white supremacists.
That's Tariq.
Yeah.
Suspected
Dick
white
smoker he is.
Suspect. I love that.
Suspected.
Suspected. What's that mean?
That means nothing.
I know.
It's like the war on terror. The evildoers.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Suspected.
Get specific with your shit.
Suspected by who?
Suspected by him.
Yeah.
I suspect that you're like, and it's smart on one level because
You're not saying it, so you're not legally liable.
right. You know what I'm saying? And there's things that he's legally liable, and we're gonna come see him in a second. He's legally liable to me in a second. You brought up Noor. My interaction first with Tariq Nasheed and Coleon Noor was they were having an issue on Twitter. I followed Noor at the time. I never followed Tariq Nasheed. I think he's a poverty pimp. What happened was
He's the Mac.
he's the Mac. He's got, like, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's got a history of, you got to get these bitches.
Yeah.
You got to get that's the worst type of fucking human, period. With that being the case, my initial interaction was when they were going through it on Twitter, I'm a peacemaker. I said, man, how great would it be if you guys could disagree in private and we could figure out a way to agree in public. I wound up doing his show. He asked to have me on his show. I've been doing the same exact thing that I was doing for the however long. I still was like, hey man, let's create a peace bond. Let's figure out how we could. No, I don't. And the reason why he can't is because he's pandering to a beginning stage of an individual and he doesn't want them to evolve.
Yeah.
He's pandering to I'm angry because you just came into knowledge of what America has done to black people. That has happened. And when you first get into that, you're mad, you're angry. White people get mad when they see, God damn, we were lied to about this too.
Right.
You know.
Red pill.
So you get that red pill and you're a little bit frustrated, right? So those people that say that suspected white supremacists and throw that out there, they're pandering to a very small niche market that isn't about freedom. It just ain't. You know what I'm saying? And I can't wait to run into Tariq Nasheed. I'm going to fuck you up, Tariq. I said that in real life. I'm going to say it again because you crossed the line. I don't care that you 6, whatever size, whatever. Psych, I'm lying, y'all. I'm joking. I don't want no beef with nobody. Tariq, whatever you did, it's cool. All of you rappers, all of you other people that have an issue with me, you actors, you activists, all of y'all, I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. Everybody is all love. Tariq, I'm not going to fuck you up. You probably win in the fight. I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of everyone. I just want to do what's good for the community. I want to support the work that we're doing. I don't want no beef with nobody. Pretty soon, I'm on some fucking government list. I know I am. Right? And we know how this movie usually plays out for people like me.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want no beef, y'all. Everybody, it was all my fault. Everything was me.
Yeah.
I just want to extend olive branches to everyone.
Are you familiar? I had Hotep Jesus on my show.
That's my man. What's up, Vibe High? Yeah, he was one of the people that Tariq called. We did this video. We was down at the White House, and we was like the suspected white supremacist gang. It was just funny. A joke.
So you're friends with him?
Yeah.
One of the things that I don't understand as a white person is this idea that like
seasoning chicken. No, I'm fucking with you.
Well, yeah, that's true. that's for damn sure. Is if white people have treated black people so poorly historically in America, why do you think all of a sudden they're going to start being nice now? I'm not saying you do.
Yeah.
So there's so much of the message of we have to get ready to take care of our own communities because they're not going to come to save me.
They shouldn't.
And why would you expect them to, given historically?
Yeah, it's nobody's fucking... And here's the other thing. Did it happen historically? Are there policies in position that continue to support those things? Yes. However, like my homie that happened to be white that grew up on the block next to me, it's not his fucking responsibility. Right. It's not my responsibility to take care of him. Bro, you good? You getting home safe? You've been drinking a lot. Or do you need me to send you an Uber? I might have love for you, but it's not actually my responsibility. And I want people to get past that concept. I'm a conservative, but I'm a libertarian. What I mean by that is I'm conservative in some areas, but I'm for me. You know what I mean? I believe in fiscal responsibility and all that other stuff. But at the same time, you do what you do. It's nobody's responsibility. I'm willing to bet. I don't know if you believe in Jesus, I don't know when Yeshua Pindera is coming back to help you. Right. I don't know. Right. If we could get a timeline, if we could get a check-in, if Allah is coming and the day of Yom Kiyama is like we can all be on the same whatever, I don't know this answer. In the meantime, it is nobody's responsibility to help you. It's your job to recognize, we got these Library of Alexandrias in our pocket. It's your job to find out the information, link up with like-minded people, put some collective work together with the people that do want to work collectively. If not, get your bank up, get your power up, get your resources up. So I'm not waiting on white people to like do anything. They got families they got to feed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was that, then Donald Trump Jr., y'all tag Don Jr.
I heard you had his number in your phone.
Yeah, look, tag him anyway. Blow his Twitter up or his Instagram. He should have donated $1 million to the GoFundMe if it was his responsibility. He bangs with our cause. It's not their responsibility. Tommy Lahren had me on the show, whatever. It's not their responsibility. And we can also say there is a systemic thing that has happened that people do benefit from, but you can overpower that with some knowledge of self, a little bit of money, and some elbow grease. And that does not excuse historically what has happened. Those things, you have to do both of those things. You got to acknowledge that past. Don't get caught up in the same trap and go that there's nobody here to help you. So it's a Sankofa. I got to look to the past to recognize what happened so I don't repeat the negative portions of it.
Michael Malice here telling you guys about HeshiSocks.com, and the promo code is welcome30 for 30% off. You know how much I love my Heshi socks. You know why I like them, because they're Pima cotton, they're soft, they cushion your heel, they don't rip like those cheap crappy socks you get everywhere else. So they're flipping the script for Valentine's Day. It's coming up. And the day after Valentine's Day is the biggest breakup day of the year. You stay together through Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and now. So do something nice for yourself. Go to HeshiSocks.com, HESHI Socks.com. Use promo code WELCOME30, and you get some nice, sweet, comfortable Heshi socks. And then you could walk away from the Valentine's Day drama. Antimicrobial, kills bacteria, keep your feet from stinking. High-end Pima cotton, highly breathable, arch support. They got the fancy ones, they've got the fun ones, they've got the basic ones. Go to HeshiSocks.com, HESHI Socks.com, and use promo code WELCOME30. What do you think of Candace Owens and her whole thing about how if you're black and you vote Democrat, you're being on the plantation?
I agree with that conceptually based on data and results. I'm not a fan of calling people the plantation.
That's what I see.
People make choices. I'm not going to do the same thing that I see other people do.
I'm imagining going to a doctor, a black doctor, and saying, you're on a plantation. And
right.
being like, what the fuck
what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
are you well?
And what happens is there you get, it creates and I don't want to liken Candace Owens to a Tariq Nasheed too much. You know what I mean? However, I'll identify it as making fun of the right, making fun of the left. It just creates, it doesn't create spaces that we're looking at the commonalities.
Okay.
And the people with the real power that pushed for Bacon's rebellion, that wanted to keep people separate, right? They benefit. It's the Tower of Babel. Nobody's communicating. Everybody just babbling at each other. You know what I'm saying? So when people say things like that, I can see how if you don't understand, if they don't, that you know more. Candace Owens reads clearly. If she knows more than the general public that may still be voting Democrat because they have not done the history and the research, the Democrat Party the KKK is a democratic creation. That is it. That's not like an attack. That is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The NRA helped black people arm themselves against the KKK. That is, I could be mad at them. Some of those guys over there could be mad at me, but that is a historical fact.
Right. I just finished reading a biography of Alan Locke, who was the founder of the Harlem Renaissance, the book got the National Book Award. And now I'm reading all the Harlem Renaissance novels of that era.
Yeah.
Some are shitty, some are not so shitty. What's sad to me is that there's so many important people historically that are kind of forgotten and whose lives I find really inspirational. And even if not inspirational, at the very least thought-provoking.
Right.
So who are the figures historically that you're like, you people should know about? Can I say you people?
Yeah.
You should know about
Easy.
these.
In here you can say that. Outside you might get fucked up.
Who are these figures that you look to that like this person's life is worth knowing about?
Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
I mean, what better? We just did a presentation. My partner came up with this concept. My co-founder of Black Guns Matter, Janine, right? Why isn't Harriet Tubman on the top tier list of every Second Amendment supporters?
Yeah.
This person.
Because she was packing all the time.
She was packing all of the time when it was unlawful to the threat of shooting on sight. Like, not just like you go to jail, pay bail, get out. You know what I mean? Like, we'll kill you, right? She's a woman. She did it, like, kept doing it back and forth to literally walk people to liberation, right? Harriet Tubman is that person. There's people, again, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, what people know now as Malcolm X, as he changed his name to that before he was murdered. You know, I think that people should know about him. I think people should know about Kwame Ture. You know, I think that everybody should know about Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Oh yeah, the big biography of him is called Negro with a Hat.
Absolutely. Yeah. And all of these things, these are people I think people should know on more recent. People should know about the work that Otis McDonald put in for Chicago. You would not have firearms when he fought against the NRA. Helped him. It happened. Not paid by the NRA. I'm mad at them right now. Yeah. However, that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? People should know about the work that Otis McDonald did. You know, there's tons of people, but a point of reference. People should definitely know about John Henrik Clarke. There's a great documentary called A Great and Mighty Walk that everybody listening to this should go watch. White people, y'all should go. Asian people, Spanish people. He was a historian, a linguist, an Egyptologist. You know what I'm saying? He read so much he went blind, literally. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
So these are the people that we have to champion as a part of American history and culture, you know? And then we can get some understanding of you not just going, you know, oh, well, those black people with guns and freedom fighters are over there. No, we are in this together.
Yeah, I find it very unfortunate that so many people on the right think, for some reason, they like black studies in college, that's a left thing, so this doesn't concern me, so I need to know about that. And I go, wait a minute. I just had this epiphany in the last few months. It's like, you're telling me it's not of interest to every human being in America. What was it like to be black in 1700 in the North? That's interesting. That's history. You don't have to be black to find that interesting. And all these other figures, Malcolm X is another one. Be polite. I'm going to fuck up the quote, but you know the quote I'm saying. Be polite, be friendly, but if someone puts their hands on you, put them in the cemetery.
Yep.
So he really had that retribution. Go ahead.
There is no difference between that from Malcolm X, who evolved several times right in front of our eyes. Well, not our eyes, but you know what I mean. There is no difference between that quote and Patrick Henry saying, give me liberty or give me death. Those are both freedom fighters in American history. If we want to win for our freedoms, we have to find women that are in that Harriet Tubmans. We have to find natives to this land, you know, Sitting Bull, Geronimo. We have to identify them. They were fighting for liberation. That's it. You know what I mean? The common cause is freedom. If we're not doing that, we're going to keep getting compartmentalized and maneuvered around. There's an unseen hand, like the puppet. There's Geppettos running around. And we got hands up our asses getting moved all over the board.
And the other reason why it's important is you think that those tricks that that use to keep black people unarmed, they're not going to use those in other neighborhoods. Of course, this is the test market. You guys are the focus group because it's easy. No one's looking over here.
Thinking about those guys.
Right. Oh, it works here. Now we're going to expand it.
Crack epidemic. Drop it off there first. Let's see what's happening. The places where they put us was called projects. Not like, let's see if this works. It was called this is an experiment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Projects. You know, these are things, and I know, you know, some people may say, well, that's just conspiracy theory. Listen, a conspiracy
is...
Was
Tuskegee conspiracy theory too?
Right. Those syphilis experiments.
Yeah,
when they was dropping, you know, here's blankets natives to this land, and it was smallpox in them or whatever. Like, that happened, you know.
That didn't happen.
And it didn't happen. No. You're just saying it.
No, it didn't happen.
It
That's
did?
a myth. No.
Okay. In the 80s.
Tuskegee did happen.
Tuskegee did happen. Whatever. My point is simply this. There are things that you, even if, okay, take it as a myth. If you've heard of this, now you got to go in this Library of Alexandria thing and go, no, let's see. As opposed to just playing like Candy Crush.
Right.
You know what I mean? With that being the case, we have a history, because that's the new thing. Let's put out everything and say it's real, and it may not be. And then have people a certain level of confused. The level of objectivity that has to happen in order to figure out what happened, what didn't, what's bullshit, what serves us now, what doesn't, is the thing that I think that the freedom community, the liberty community, all Americans should be striving for. And that translates beyond any racial, socioeconomic, educational, whatever. There are things that you have access to that you can learn to try to align yourself with more freedom and respect for other people's freedom. And that's really the bottom line in that regard.
What it comes down to me, I'm an immigrant. We came here with nothing, whatever. But the point is, I don't want people in high crime, poverty areas to have to live in fear.
Right.
I don't want that old lady to wonder, is tonight someone going to break in?
Yep.
And if they break in, are they just going to rob me, or are they going to rape me, or are they going to kill me?
Any politician that's pushing for that agenda still, they are lying. Remember I can't remember which Transformers it was. Shia LaBeouf was still in them. And there were dudes it was when they were in Chicago. And there was the one dude that was what they called a collaborator. Right? And he had riches and all of these other different things because he was helping the Decepticons. Those politicians, they're very aware. They're not affected by it. So even some of the law enforcement guys that give me pushback, I'll say, bro, since 1994, you've had National Concealed Carry as a law enforcement officer. LEOSA helps you. Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act. You guys have had that in position since late 90s, early 2000s. I'm fucking the date up. But
Sure.
Point being is, you guys, as law enforcement officers, every year you got to check in, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But y'all have the ability to travel state to state as law enforcement with your firearm, even in states that you might have a concealed carry permit that it's not reciprocal. You guys have that. So, of course, you feel comfortable and safe and all of that. Why don't we? Are you levitating above the rest of us? You are a different space of human, And so those are the things that I want people to understand. There are people that are ignorant and there are people that are collaborators because they don't feel the same pinch. You cannot write an anti-gun bill without law enforcement support because the police fraternal order, the Fraternal Order of Police, the largest union for police officers, will go no. And so they write in, y'all can push that if we are exempt. And that's not okay. That is not the framework of what we said, our founding fathers, with their contradictions. That is not the framework of what this thing was created on. It's not separate people. You actually work for us. You shouldn't have stuff that the people don't have. That's literally wrote in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Let
me ask you this. When you're in a crowd that's predominantly white, like an NRA meeting, right? Do you ever feel like they fetishize you?
Well, I'm really handsome, so, I can't...
I guess you've been reading so much you've gone blind too.
Right, right. I got the John Henrik Clark disease. Clearly, you haven't looked at yourself. You need to shave. You could do well with the tan. And those places, I don't think that they fetishize me. I think that they don't know what I am.
Right.
They're like, where the fuck were you? And how do we get like 100 more of you? I'm telling them how they could get more of me is by supporting the work that we're doing. We're walking around the country creating more of me. Y'all need to get behind the work that we're doing. GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter. You guys got to get behind that.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Three things are potentially going to happen. Someone's going to come try to kill me.
Yep.
They're going to come try to buy me. Or I'm going to get tired of you fuckers and just go somewhere and disappear.
Yeah.
And just focus on my family. Those are the only three things that's going to happen. CIA, NSA, all of you guys that are listening, just drop off 100 million and I'll stop. Just drop off 100 million. I'll disappear.
You'll settle for 10.
No.
No?
I need the big bag.
Okay.
I need the $10 million ain't going to change my life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
Give me a little bit. I'll be able to get that Bentley Continental GT that I want.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to afford it 4, 5, 10 times over.
Priorities.
Right? Priorities. Give me the 100 million. I'll be quiet. You don't have to do the whole what you tried to do with Fidel for however long.
Right.
And you guys failed miserably at that
cigar.
shit. Right.
You don't even like cigars.
I love cigars, and they
okay.
might get me that way.
Okay.
Guys, you don't have to do it that way. Give me 100 million, or speaking to I think it's the Koch brothers. I always, because Heckler and Koch, people mispronounce that as Heckler and Koch, right?
Like Du Bois.
Right. Koch brothers. I'm speaking at CPAC, right? At the end of this month. Koch brothers. Really, really rich, right-leaning, liberty-based gun guys.
Yes.
Please get behind our movement. You cannot touch urban America. We do not trust you.
Right.
We don't. I'm sorry. You need liaisons. So when I'm in those rooms, they go, where the fuck were you?
Yeah.
How did we, even the other guys that, they black, but we ain't from the same place. We're not comfortable in the same spaces. I moved to Chicago for a month to hang out and do conflict resolution by myself. It's Chicago just like North Philly to me, you know? So those are the three things that are going to happen. So they don't fetishize me. They just go, how were you a high school dropout and you know this stuff? How were you able to still be you? How come you weren't tainted in the process? Because I'm confident in myself. I got knowledge of self.
Yeah, when you, I never took a writing course and it was a communication course. I was a business major,
Yeah.
but I spent all the time in the library.
Right.
Because when you learn yourself, you know where that came from,
Yep.
and no one could ever. It's not hearsay.
Right.
It's, I read this book, I thought about it, and I put two and two together myself, and no one could take that away from you.
Right. I got the highlighter markers
Yeah.
of the book. I got the notes that I scribbled in the book. You know what I mean? Those are things that are invaluable. And I translate a lot of. Listen, America's a corporation. It has a board of directors.
Yeah.
And it has a CEO. And it has a co-CEO or whatever word that is for that. That is the street. The parallel between corporate America, and the streets is parallel and it's close. You know what I mean? So I don't have to change who I am. I might just, if I'm on a station that I can't cuss, I'll change it that way.
Sure.
But I mean, I was at, I might throw a suit on when I feel like it. I went at the White House with a suit. I was fly as fuck at the White House, just to throw that out there.
I saw Donald Jr.'s tweet about it.
Yeah, it was amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Look at this fly
Look
motherfucker.
at this fly motherfucker here. With that being the case, I'm always going to speak for the people.
Yeah.
That truth resonates. There's reasons why the 50,000 Twitter followers that's listening to you right now, the reason why they agreeing with certain shit, because they like, yeah, that shit makes sense. And I'm not, and no white person in here feels like this guy's attacking me. He's calling me, even when we're making jokes. I'm like, oh, you're a white devil. That's a joke, clearly, right?
I think there's what's very sad
Oh,
for
no,
me.
you guys are white devils, though.
Yeah, the Jews. Yeah.
You're right.
I think it's very sad for me. I did 2 books with D.L. Hughley, right?
Yeah.
And it's very sad for me for people who are white who don't come from like Brooklyn or someplace like that. They don't know how to talk to black people.
Yeah.
And there's so much pressure on them culturally that if you say the wrong thing, it's going to be like a riot. It's like, no, these are human beings.
Right.
And black people, more than whites, know the difference between someone who's racist and someone who's joking around. It's not a thin line. It's a very thick line.
Right.
Because guys bust each other's balls.
Right.
When you're with your Italian friends, it's the same jokes.
Come on, you fucking meathead. Get the fuck out. What, you going to make some pizza? Get the fuck out of here.
It's the same. And it's just very sad for me how it's even in urban areas, whites are just not comfortable talking
But that's
to black
fine
people.
because at a certain point, like, if they're watching right now and if you're nervous, cool. You just deal with it by just dealing with it, right? Or ask the question, bro, I never heard of that.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
Know I don't know what the fuck that means. I do think black women are fucking hot. Like, just own it. Stop pretending like, it's like my Rottweiler smell fear. Like, certain people, and the fear of the dealing with it straight up could be misinterpreted as, damn, why you tiptoeing around it? What you racist?
Right, because your voice changes, and I'm gonna talk. Oh
Right.
yeah, wow,
Yeah,
I love your
good for
hair.
you, Govey. Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, just be real. Everybody resonates with real, unless you're fake. And if you're fake, if you're that white person, I'm gonna step back and let natural selection do its fucking thing. If somebody eats your fucking face off, hey, well, thinning out the fucking herd, strengthening the gene
That's
pool.
Florida.
Right.
Last question, because we're out of time.
Yeah.
There's been no issue, I think. Well, there's 2. Let me ask them both. One of the biggest intersections between race and guns was the Trayvon case.
Yeah.
What was your breakdown of that whole situation and the stand your ground laws?
I think stand your ground laws are very good for Americans.
Okay.
So the Trayvon Martin case was not a stand your ground law case. The television made it look like that. The defense was not stand your ground at all. But it also spoke to the contradiction. So when we're talking about Trayvon, Zimmerman, the reason why it wasn't a stand your ground case because Zimmerman wasn't standing his ground. One, he got prompted by the dispatch to do not pursue. He still chose to do it. If I am in a situation, the rule is you cannot use it's not justifiable deadly force unless your life is in imminent danger. Jason Voorhees is chasing me right now with the knife. I shot him. There's the knife, officer. Here's my gun. That's Jason. I shot the shit out of him. Right? If I get away from Jason Voorhees, then go back and be like, I can't believe this motherfucker Jason Voorhees tried to stab me. Then I shoot him. Your life was not in imminent danger.
It's Jason Voorhees. You better shoot him again.
But if you got away from him,
He's coming back. It's Jason. Have you not seen these movies?
No, you got to get all the way away from him. If you get all the way, if you're a white girl and you trip, it's over for you.
It's over for the white girl anyway.
It's it.
She's done.
It's just it.
Yeah.
It's just it. You might as well just lay down.
But it's Friday every day.
If you,
Bye, Felicia.
It's Friday the 13th. She's in a loop between Groundhog Day and Friday the 13th. She got the Groundhog and Jason is in her day every day. If you go back and you shoot, that is not justifiable deadly force. I think that the legal team overcharged him, and the Trayvon Zimmerman's team was able to exploit that. I think that spoke to something that we have to focus on, which is jury selection, which is a big thing that we are not talking about at all. And I think that it exposes everybody talking that Second Amendment, ride or die, protect my community, gangster shit. You motherfuckers shot Malcolm X and will probably attempt to shoot me, but if you gangster Zimmerman walking around free as fuck, so there's a few things there. It also exposed people's knee-jerk. It was one of the cases that exposed people's knee-jerk reaction without doing any evidence. Everybody started attacking. The left made it about stand your ground laws, when in reality, black people especially, standing your ground as opposed to the alternative, which is duty to retreat. If Jason Voorhees in a duty to retreat state, if Jason Voorhees is in your house chasing you up the steps with the ability to kill you, right, and you got the gun, law enforcement or the district attorney will say, well, you were on the first floor and you didn't retreat because you could have jumped out of your back window when Jason Voorhees, and you shot him, so we're going to charge you with homicide. So if I've shown, because stand your ground does not mean there's no proof of showing that you have to use justifiable, deadly force. Like the guy down in Florida that got into the argument with the lady, the older gentleman, the black dude came and pushed him. He pulled his gun out and he shot him. They didn't initially charge him. They wound up charging that guy. And they tried to use, he stood his ground because the guy pushed him. No, he got pushed and there was a 4-second space where that guy was not still trying to beat him. And he chose to then go to his firearm and kill a guy. Stand your ground laws are good for you. Do not try to get rid of stand your ground laws, especially if you're a gun owner in your house. And stand your ground is extension of what's called the castle doctrine. Right. I have the right to defend my life and stand my ground in my castle. Outside,
even against the police. Invade. Which is great.
I think that the Trayvon Martin case exposed people's unawareness to do due diligence and see what the actual facts of the matter were. And I think that it spoke to, areas that we got to tighten up in. And it spoke to stop saying you a gangster if you not. I'm okay with violence. And if you're okay with violence and you saying you gangster, well, there's a great target.
And here's the other thing. If you're a gangster, you don't need to tell people.
Just go do it.
Margaret Thatcher said being powerful is like being a lady. If you have to tell people you are, you aren't.
You're a dude.
Right.
You're a dude.
So the last question is, what do you think this is something that's very big in the press, about police brutality against black people and targeting black men?
I think it's something that historically has happened.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah.
Police officers are, and if anything that I'm saying, everybody go research it. Police officers are an extension of slave catchers. That's where the concept in America of police come from. The whole bounty hunter concept type of thing. I think that regardless, first, black people have every legitimate right. We saw the Rodney King thing. And at that time, white America was like, oh my God. And everybody in the 80s and early 90s was like, yeah. It's just when it just happened to get caught on camera. I think that the part that gets left out of that is my white brothers, y'all getting fucked up and shot more by police statistically than black people are. So it isn't a question of race. It's a question of tyranny. It just so happens that mass media focuses on when it's the black dude.
Why do you think they do that?
Frenzy, chaos, potential helter-skelter. You know what I mean? That race war shit. It's Game of Shadows fucking, what's his name? Sherlock Holmes, the second movie, when Moriarty, he did all of this stuff over that time because he just wanted to sell the bullets and the bandages. I just need chaos makes money. War makes money. Unity and harmony.
Fear makes money. Yeah.
If I keep people separate in relationships, if I'm Procter & Gamble, I get to sell 2 households worth of Procter & Gamble products, as opposed to people working together under one roof. They're able to save money. They're able to work together. That's why America has a problem with polygamy. You know what I'm saying? All of those different things is concentrating the resources and getting back to that nuclear family structure. So the police concept of why they're highlighting it when it's black people, especially black people having historical history. We are the only race, quote unquote, race of people that were brought here, like not on our own will. There were black people and native people, the people of color that were here before slavery. Let's be clear about that. You know, there's books by Ivan Van Sertima. They came before Columbus. All of this. Them natives, what we call Indians, right? Cherokee, all of those different tribes and all of those different things. You see the remnants of their culture here. I was in Seattle, the Seahawks, all of them logos, the totem pole. Come on. The names of places, Chippewa, all of this different stuff. My point there is there were people of color that were here beforehand, but some of us, black people in America, some of us were brought here. The only group of people that were brought here against our will. There were other Irish, all European, Eastern Europe, whatever. They were brought here like, yo, we trying to find a better way. I think that with black people having that history, the 60s, the civil rights movement, those rumbles, it's an easy target. It's easy to stimulate that, powder keg. I would suggest that black people get more strategic in recognizing when you're being, it's a external stimulus to get you to be mad. And if you're mad and then don't do anything, it's a waste of time. Chinese people in America have the lowest voter turnout in the country. They got towns, Chinatown. They got political representation. That's that quiet, being quiet, getting that money and securing your own. Those are the things. Now, I'm not saying don't speak out against injustice, whether that's black, white, so forth and so on. I think this is an opportunity for us to showcase a unity. Y'all white dudes is getting fucked up out here, too. Black people are getting fucked up out here, too. Spanish people, Latino people are getting fucked up out here, too, by certain smaller portions, corrupt portions of law enforcement. I have friends and family members that are law enforcement that put that job on to catch rapers, robbists, and killers. That's it. I'm not writing tickets. I'm not doing that shit. I'm catching the actual bad guys. So I'm not going to group all law enforcement into this blanket thing, right? So I think that that's the reason why they highlight it. But white dudes, you motherfuckers are under the gun just as well. Statistically, that's not me saying there's not a culture or there's not a bias that, white males have towards, black males just the same. I'm not saying that. I'm saying statistically, you motherfuckers are getting fucked up. Y'all white motherfuckers better start donating and coming to the goddamn classes too, because y'all are getting fucked up. That is what tyranny does. That is what power unchecked does. They've manipulated and done a much better job of making it look like it's only those people over there,
of course.
Or there's only those people over there.
Last question.
Yeah.
What was your first red pill?
My first red pill was my Uncle Marv. I spoke to him today. He was the first person that I heard call himself a god.
Okay.
And I got scared as fuck.
How old were you when this happened?
I may have been like 10.
Okay.
And he was like, I'm a god. And I got scared. And I didn't know what he knew to make him say that he was a god. Fortunately, he continued to give me information. And let me be clear what that means. Gomer, Oz, and Dabar, strength, beauty, and wisdom. You could look at it that way, G-O-D. You could look at it as a controlling force in control of your own environment. That does not mean you created all of the heavens and the earth. And because if that was the case, the whole $100 million thing for me wouldn't really be an issue, right? What that means is, like Jesus said, do you not know that ye are gods? Like, I didn't write that. Like, it's in your book type thing. There's if you're aspiring to be Christ-like or Yeshua-like or whatever, you want to be God. You want to be in control of your environment. You want to master your lower self. You want to master your devil, your animal nature. That's what Horamaket, or what we call the Sphinx, is about. You know what I'm saying? So that was my first red pill. My uncle. Shouts to Uncle Marv. He gonna start traveling with me a lot more, lately, to keep eyes on some of you motherfuckers and some of you women that's trying to trick me and set me up for the Me Too movement. Fuckers.
oh my God. On that note, Maj, thank you so much. I will see you all next week.
Hey, GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter. Please support.
And all the links will be on the show notes page on YouTube as well, up front and center. We will see next week where we got Romney conservative Dave Smith. You are welcome.